Albert Bacon Blanton, yes, I said Bacon, was a Kentucky gentleman and a bourbon aristocrat, and the future successor of Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr. Under Colonel Blanton's directions, the now called Buffalo Trace Distillery survived and even thrived through numerous challenges throughout the early 20th century. In 1881, Albert was born on an adjacent farm to the distillery. In 1897, Blanton joined what was then owned by George T. Stagg Distillery under the name OFC Distillery as an office boy at the age of 16. Over the next several years, Blanton was promoted and given experience in every department at the distillery. In 1904, the distillery officially changed its name to George T. Stagg Distillery. In 1921, Colonel Blanton was promoted to president of the distillery. Colonel Blanton kept the distillery open through Prohibition by obtaining a special government license to produce medicinal whiskey, which was only given to a lucky few. In 1929, the distillery is bought by Schenley Distillers Corporation. In 1935, Warehouse H is built. It's the only metal-clad warehouse at the distillery. In 1937, a series of terrible storms hit Kentucky and caused a flood, which forced the plant to temporarily shut down. But Colonel Blanton had the distillery back to normal operation in just 24 hours through his leadership and creativity. Albert Blanton helped in expanding the distillery with clubhouses, gardens, and his own property, which is the Stony Point Mansion that overlooks the distillery. Blanton grew the distillery from a mere 14 buildings to a 114-building giant. Albert then retired in 1952 and died 7 years later in 1959. In 1984, the world's first single-barrel bourbon is introduced, and it's called Blanton's Single Barrel Bourbon in honor of Colonel Albert Bacon Blanton, a concept that Blanton himself originally utilized for his own private stock and entertaining. So it's not the juice, the shape of the bottle, or the collectible tops that makes me want to buy a bottle of Blanton's, but the rich history of a highly skilled craftsman that put his heart and soul into a product. And it's the story of Albert pulling whiskey from his favorite barrels for special guests and all the work he did to keep the whiskey alive.